I kind of spoiled this earlier by posting this to my community tab, but Star Trek just went through its Anakin destroyed the Death Star moment, which, if you remember a couple days ago, the actor from The Acolyte gave an interview and literally went out there saying Anakin destroyed the Death Star as he talks about his fandom of Star Wars and his love of Star Wars. And it was confirmed it was not a Freudian slip. The guy actually believed this just by the actual context of the clip. Now, this is pretty wild, too. Now, Heather Antos is the editor of the line of Star Trek comics. And we reported yesterday that this line is getting canceled and that IDW will be losing the license at the end of the year. This comes after a myriad of crazy changes to the line where they've tried to make this like multi-book shared universe and events. And it's turned out to just be a fan fiction-y train wreck where you really don't feel Star Trek at all in it. Crazy stuff. It's been bad ever since she came into the company, and now, of course, she is in charge of their entire licensing division. Now, I heard from an insider last night that not only are they losing the license to Star Trek, but there's another major license that is going to be up very, very soon and gone. IDW has already lost Transformers and G.I. Joe last year to Image Comics and Skybound, and they've done a way better job over there than IDW was doing with it. So I'm kind of like, I can't really say which one this is, but this is a major license because unfortunately, like, it's going to dox my contact. And if these people, there's an order at IDW not to talk to me. It's very interesting. I can get into that in a moment because there's a weird whisper network thing going on right now. And you'll kind of see how I'm going to just give you a picture of the mainstream entertainment media landscape and how they lie, they hide, and then these people in comics like cover for each other and make these passive-aggressive posts all the time. It's very interesting stuff. But this is the moment. Again, quick, what Star Trek character should I draw? And this other lady who Heather works with. Of course, this is that's the only people that interact with Heather are people who work with Heather. There's no Star Trek readers left anymore. And she says, who? After Christine. Now, obviously, she's referring to Christine Chappell, which, you know, as a person who might have tuned out of Star Trek a long time ago, you might not know who that is. But, of course, she was an original series side character, now is a main character in Strange New Worlds. And as the editor of the Star Trek line, you should know that. That's a obvious is obvious kind of thing right here. So we're laughing about this over on the community tab. Thank you guys for being here, and thank you for being fans on this. It gets crazier. Let's get into what's going on with Star Trek in just a moment. My name's John Delarose. I'm a #1 best-selling science fiction author, and of course, one of the few journalists out there who actually tells the truth about what's going on in the insane corporate media that's controlling entertainment. And I appreciate all you guys for supporting us. We have a better than Star Trek trilogy right here. This is called The Auratian War, and this entire trilogy is awesome. It's all done in audiobook, ebook, and print, so check this out today. I'm going to put this in the link in the description below. This is how science fiction should work. And of course, maybe when they lose the license, maybe I'll buy it up and publish Star Trek myself. We'll see how it goes. But it gets crazier. So I'm looking at this right here, and I went hard on the licensing situation yesterday. And I also talked about comic book blacklists on a thread with Gail Simone, who's writing Uncanny X-Men now. Now, Gail, this is called a subtweet when they don't mention you, and it's obviously about you. And Gail has had a conversation with me after a while, saying that if I really believe there's all these whisper networks and things like that, she really is scared for me. And I'm like, okay. I've seen enough evidence of it and seen just the smack talking behind closed doors so many times for all this stuff. It's been going on since at least 2017. And when I uncovered this in 2017, it was done in a Facebook group, and there were a lot of comic pros in a Facebook group, and they were coordinating against your boy Zach. That was just Comics Matters with your boy Zach, who used to be called Diversity in Comics back then, a much better channel title name. And gosh, he's kind of had some bad takes lately, but maybe I'll get onto that on the live stream on Monday. So make sure to tune in then. But that Whisper Network threatened him, and they went at him, and they were trying to get him banned from New York Comic Con. So those people were exposed, and of course that was one of my forays into comic book journalism back then, as I uncovered that. And now you could see how they react. So they don't mention you by name, because if they do, they think you'll get you attention or whatever. You'll get some content. I'll get content out of it anyway, Gail. So here it is. She says, I cannot spend the day responding to people who just make stuff up. And that's allegedly, me talking about the Whisper Network and about how there's a blacklist in comics. And even though I'm way more talented than the people that Heather's got working on Star Trek, and I write way better science fiction, I will never be picked up by any of these companies, which is probably a blessing, to be honest. The amount of books that I'm selling just via Amazon, my direct website, and without middlemen, with Diamond Distribution, and with these companies taking so much out of it. You see the people who are working there. They're hiring people like Mags Visaggio, and Mags is begging for rent money every month on Twitter. So I don't really have to do that. I don't have a GoFundMe set up for that. Though I was considering setting up a GoFundMe to buy the Irish statue from Rippaverse, but that's another story. She says, I love talking with readers, but if you're told repeatedly that your theories are not true, posting them endlessly in an accusatory tone is not something I can engage with. And that's apparently me with the Whisper Network and Blacklist. And also just the woke nonsense going on at X-Men, which, didn't reference today. But that's been an ongoing theme. And, of course, Tom Brevoort over there has said, how he hates everybody on the right wing and how the message is the story. And so we know what X-Men's going to be at the end of the day. Now, this was retweeted by Heather Antos because Gail engaged with me after I called her out on it. And Gail said, oh, it's interesting you think this is about you. Did one of those typical, things they do online. And Heather is reposting this with the obvious because I broke the story that they're losing the Star Trek license yesterday. That's a big story. It's getting out there. It's most comic stories are kind of gone, but because nobody cares about comics anymore, they've killed the industry. But because this one involves Star Trek, there's some people who actually cared about it. Got some pretty good views on it. Thank you guys. And this is wild, just how they all react, and they all pretend like Rome's not burning, fiddling away on Twitter and on Blue Sky now, and this is how they kind of coordinate together. To get these kind of messages out to their own little group, because they all know what it's about. They'll all talk in DMs and be like, "Who's this about?" And they'll be, "Oh, that JDA guy. Oh, he reported about Star Trek, and it's terrible." Now, more confirmation that this was happening and that there was a weird concerted effort is, again, I posted about all this yesterday, and this is Trek Central. Trek Central is like a Trek news website, Access Media. And they just, they shill everything Star Trek, and that's all they do. And so Star Trek gives them a little bit of access. And look, all of a sudden I'm blocked, and I can't view the news that's coming out of Star Trek. Why? Well, because I reported on the fact that IDW is losing the license yesterday. I'm not allowed to do that. That sort of thing is not to be seen, not to be said. You notice none of these people are coming out there and being like, okay, no, we've got the license. Because my contact is correct. My contact's actually on the Paramount side, and so they know exactly what's going on. It's very interesting stuff, and they're sweating right now. And as I said, IDW is losing another license. It's not just this one. This company, there's a vote of no confidence being shown by the industry, and it's because of all of their bad moves over the last few years. They're laying off people like crazy, and they have just no good editorial direction for any of their properties. And it's all dying. It's finally caught up with them. This is happening, and this is what's happening in the comic industry as a whole, because they've just let these people run amok. They've let nepotism in the door, and they've created it so it's just about the little petty politics and the Whisper Network, who gets jobs and who doesn't, versus what's actually producing good work. And so, pretty honored to be blocked by the Star Trek Access Media at this point. And it makes me, know that I'm over the target. And that means I need to report more on what's going on with Star Trek and all the corruption that's going on there in the media. Because they're destroying Star Trek just like they're destroying Doctor Who, like they're destroying Star Wars, like they're destroying Warhammer. It's just another science fiction property, a beloved IP that they are intentionally torching with their DEI crap in order to push their little agenda. And of course, just ruin everything for everybody. Now, I have been reporting on this as well, reading Star Trek Celebrations at IDW's Star Trek convention. It's thoughtful, fun, full of feels. You'd think, oh wow, what a fan at a Star Trek convention. Is this a Star Trek reader talking about the book and hyping it? And this is why they're losing the license. Nobody's reading it. So checks profile. And the guy's an IDW cover artist working for Star Trek. Not every single person who's talking about this Pride Month Star Trek book in the positive is an employee or like gets Access Media sort of representation there. There's nobody who's just like a regular reader out there, and that's what's happening here. Oh my gosh, what a fun Saturday! I hope you're having a good weekend, my friends. Just let's keep the pressure on. It's really working. We're seeing how in video games that pressure is causing changes, and I think we can do it in the comic industry as well. So I'm going to keep pushing here, they're eventually going to either just make good comic books or get out. That's the whole deal. Leave a comment with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button, and if you like good books, go check out the Operation War Trilogy on Amazon.